A full year had passed since Noah opened the Carter Foundation. What had once been an old family farmhouse had become a place of hope. Every week, people arrived, not because they were looking for answers, but because they were searching for peace. The old oak tree still stood proudly in front of the house, its branch now stretched wider than ever before. Children often gathered beneath it, reading stories or writing letters for strangers they would never meet. Inside Grandpa Richard's study, very little had changed. The wooden desk remained beside the window. The framed map still hung above the fireplace. The Book of Quiet Kindness now filled an entire bookshelf. Next to it rested the blank notebook. That was no longer blank. Every page contained a story written by someone who had chosen kindness. At the center of the old desk sat Grandpa Richard's pocket watch. Its gentle ticking had become part of the house itself. Every visitor who entered the room paused for a moment just to listen. Noah smiled each morning as he carefully wound the old watch, still keeping time. Grandpa Sarah walked in, holding a basket filled with fresh letters. The mailbox is full again. She laughed softly. We're going to need another bookshelf. Lily followed behind, carrying flowers for the front porch. I still can't believe people drive across the country just to leave a letter. Noah looked around the room. They're not coming for the letters. They're coming because they want to believe the world can still be kind. Late that afternoon, as the last visitors prepared to leave, an unfamiliar truck slowly turned into the gravel driveway. It wasn't new. Its faded blue paint had been worn by decades of travel. An elderly man stepped out. He moved carefully, using a wooden cane. His gray coat carried the dust of many long roads. In one hand, he held a small wooden box, wrapped carefully with an old leather strap. He didn't walk toward the front door. Instead, he stopped beneath the great oak tree, looking up into its branches. His eyes filled quietly with memories. Noah stepped outside. Good afternoon. The old man turned slowly. His gentle smile was warm, but carried a sadness that had clearly lived with him for many years. I hope I haven't missed him. Noah hesitated. I'm sorry. If you're looking for Richard Carter, my grandfather passed away. The stranger closed his eyes. For a long moment, he said nothing. The wind moved softly through the leaves. Finally, he whispered, I knew this day would come. He slowly lifted the small wooden box, holding it with both hands. Richard asked me to keep this for as long as necessary and to return it only when his grandson had learned the difference between finding answers and becoming one. Noah stood completely still. Those words sounded exactly like Grandpa Richard. What is it? He asked quietly. The old man smiled. I've never opened it. Richard made me promise. He only said, one day you would know what to do. Together, they carried the mysterious box into Grandpa Richard's study. The room fell silent. Sarah, Lily, and Daniel gathered around the old wooden desk. Noah gently loosened the worn leather strap. As the lid began to open, no one knew that inside was the final piece of a mystery Grandpa Richard had begun many years before. The old wooden box rested quietly on Grandpa Richard's desk. No one said a word. Even the ticking of the pocket watch seemed louder than usual. Noah slowly lifted the lid. Inside, there was no treasure, no old letters, no family photographs, only a tiny brass key, resting on a piece of dark blue velvet. The key was beautifully crafted. Its handle was shaped like an oak leaf. Its metal had aged gracefully, yet it still caught the afternoon sunlight, as though it had been polished only yesterday. Lily leaned closer. "It's so small." Daniel smiled. "It almost looks like it belongs to a music box." The elderly stranger shook his head gently. "No, it belongs to something far more valuable." His eyes moved slowly toward Grandpa Richard's pocket watch. Everyone followed his gaze. The old watch sat quietly on the desk. Its steady rhythm filled the room. "Tick, tick, tick." Sarah frowned. "I've seen that watch for years. I never noticed a place for a key." The old man smiled. "Neither did I. Richard never showed me. He only handed me the key and said, 'Someday, my grandson will know when to use it.'" Noah carefully picked up the tiny key. It felt unexpectedly warm, as though someone else's hands had only recently let it go. He turned the pocket watch over in his hands. The back looked perfectly smooth. No lock, no opening, nothing unusual. Daniel examined it from another angle. "There has to be something we're missing." The old stranger reached forward. Without touching the watch, he pointed to the outer rim. "Richard always said, the greatest secrets never hide in the center. They wait along the edge." Noah slowly ran his thumb around the watch. Nothing. Then, just beneath the winding crown, half felt the smallest indentation, almost invisible. Lily gasped. "It's there." Using the tip of the brass key, Noah gently pressed the hidden notch. A soft click echoed through the quiet room. The back of the pocket watch shifted slightly, not opening completely, only enough to reveal a second hidden compartment. Everyone held their breath. Noah stopped. His hand hovered above the tiny opening. For some reason, he couldn't explain. He didn't move. The old stranger watched him quietly, then smiled. "Richard told me this moment would matter," he said. "If you rush to open it, you'll only see what's inside. But if you pause, you'll understand why he waited so many years." Noah slowly lowered his hand, closed his eyes, and took a deep breath. He suddenly remembered every lesson his grandfather had ever taught him. The map, the gardener, the bridge, the bell, the letters, the empty chair. None of them had ever been about finding hidden objects. They had always been about becoming the kind of person who could understand their meaning. When Noah opened his eyes, he smiled softly. "I think I'm finally ready." Very carefully, he lifted the hidden compartment. Inside rested a tightly folded piece of paper. Beside it lay something else, something small, something silver. No one could yet see exactly what it was, but Noah already knew. Grandpa Richard had saved his final lesson for this very moment. The hidden compartment opened slowly. No one moved. No one spoke. Even the old pocket watch seemed to pause, as though it had been waiting for this moment its entire life. Inside rested a carefully folded letter. Beside it lay a small silver compass, no larger than a coin. Its glass had yellowed with age, yet the tiny needle still pointed north. Steady, unshaken, Lily whispered, "A compass?" The elderly stranger smiled. "I've never seen that before. I only knew the key opened something." Noah gently picked up the little compass. Across the back, tiny words had been engraved. Find people, not places. His eyes filled with emotion. Those words captured everything Grandpa Richard had ever believed. Daniel smiled softly. The map, the letters, the stories, they were never a bout destination. They were always about people. Noah nodded, then carefully unfolded the letter. The paper had become fragile, but Grandpa Richard's handwriting remained beautifully clear. Dear Noah, if you are reading this, then you have already discovered the greatest secret I could ever leave behind. Not inside this watch, not inside a map, not inside any letter. The greatest treasure has always been the person you are becoming. When you were young, you believed a compass helped people find the right road. Life taught me something different. The best compass never points toward places. It points toward people who need kindness. Whenever you feel lost, don't ask, where should I go? Ask instead, who needs me today? If you follow that question long enough, you will never walk the wrong path. With love, always, Grandpa Richard. Silence filled the room. The words didn't feel like a farewell. They felt like a hand still resting on Noah's shoulder. Sarah quietly wiped away a tear. I've read so many of Richard's letters, but this one feels different. Daniel nodded, because it wasn't written to teach us something new. It reminds us to live what we've already learned. The elderly stranger looked toward the old oak tree outside the window. I met Richard 42 years ago. I was angry, bitter, and completely alone. He didn't try to fix me. He simply walked beside me for miles. When we reached my house, he smiled and said, "No one walks farther than someone who no longer walks alone." The old man lowered his head. That day changed my entire life. Noah carefully folded the letter again, then placed the tiny compass beside the pocket watch. For the first time, he realized why Grandpa Richard had hidden it for so many years. Not because it was valuable, but because its meaning could only be understood after the journey was complete. As evening settled over the Carter Foundation, the silver compass caught the last ray of sunlight for just a moment. Its needle didn't point north. Instead, it slowly turned toward the front door, almost as if it already knew someone else was about to arrive. Needing hope, the silver compass rested quietly beside Grandpa Richard's pocket watch. Its tiny needle still pointed toward the front door. No one could explain it, yet somehow no one questioned it. Just then, the old brass bell above the entrance rang softly. One gentle chime. Daniel looked up. "I'll get it." Standing outside was a teenage boy, no older than 17. His backpack hung heavily from one shoulder. His sneakers were covered in road dust. His eyes looked exhausted, not from walking, from carrying too much for too long. He whispered, "I hope I'm not bothering anyone." Daniel smiled warmly. "You aren't. Come inside." The boy hesitated. "I don't really need anything." "Then why did you come?" Daniel asked. The boy looked down. "I saw the sign on the road." He pointed toward the wooden sign outside the foundation. It read, "Leave here a little kinder than you arrived." I thought, if a place could promise that, maybe it was worth stopping. Noah welcomed him into the study. A warm fire crackled softly inside the fireplace. Sarah handed him a cup of hot chocolate. No one asked his name. No one asked why he had come. They simply made room for him. After several minutes, the boy finally spoke. "My name is Evan. I've been driving around for 2 days. My father and I had another fight. He says, I never know what I want to do with my life. Evan laughed quietly. The truth is, neither do I. Noah glanced at the tiny compass. Its needle still pointed toward Evan. Grandpa Richard's words echoed inside his heart. Don't ask, where should I go? Ask instead, who needs me today? Noah smiled. I think you arrived at exactly the right place. He picked up the tiny silver compass, then placed it gently into Evan's hand. The teenager looked surprised. I can't take this. It belongs to your grandfather. Noah nodded. For today, it belongs to the person it pointed toward. Evan looked down at the tiny compass on the back. He slowly read the engraved words. Find people, not places. His eyes filled with tears. Me dad always tells me I need to find my direction. Noah smiled gently. Maybe he was right, but maybe direction isn't a career. It isn't a destination. It's discovering the kind of person you want to become. The room fell silent. The elderly stranger, who had brought the missing key, watched quietly from across the room. Then he smiled. Richard told me one day that compass would point to exactly the right person. I didn't believe him. He looked at Evan. He don't know. That evening, as the sun disappeared behind the old oak tree, Evan stood outside the foundation. Before leaving, he turned toward Noah. I came here looking for my future. He smiled, but I think I found something better. I found hope. As Noah watched the young man drive away, he noticed something strange. The tiny silver compass, which Evan had carefully returned before leaving, no longer pointed toward the front door. For the first time in decades, its needle rested perfectly still, almost as if Grandpa Richard was quietly saying, you finally understand. The silver compass lay quietly on Grandpa Richard's desk. For the first time, its tiny needle had stopped moving, not because it was broken, but because its purpose had finally been understood. The elderly stranger watched Noah with a gentle smile. You know, Richard once told me that this compass would become useless the day someone finally learned how to follow their own heart. Lily looked surprised. So, it isn't magical? The old man chuckled. No, the magic was never inside the compass. It was always inside the people who believed they still had something to give. That afternoon, the Carter Foundation received an unexpected phone call. Daniel answered. A local high school needed help. Several students had recently dropped out. Others were struggling with anxiety and loneliness. The principal asked, could someone come speak to our students? Daniel covered the receiver. They're asking for us. Noah looked at Grandpa Richard's photograph, then smiled. I think it's time we stopped waiting for people to find us. The following morning, Noah, Daniel, Sarah, and Lily arrived at the school auditorium. More than 200 students filled the seats. Some laughed, some whispered, many stared at their phones. Others simply looked tired. The principal stepped onto the stage. Today, we have guests who aren't here to give a lecture. They're here to tell a story. Noah walked slowly to the microphone. In his hands, he held Grandpa Richard's pocket watch and the tiny silver compass. He didn't begin with advice. He didn't speak about success or failure. Instead, he asked one simple question. Have you ever felt lost, even when everyone around you Thought you were fine. The room became silent. Ona be ona. Students looked up. Noah smiled gently. My grandfather used to tell me that everyone gets lost, but being lost isn't the problem. The problem is believing you have to find the way back by yourself. He held up the silver compass. It says, find people, not places. For years, I thought this compass would show me where to go, but it taught me something better. When you're afraid, find someone who listens. When you're hurting, find someone who cares. And when you become strong again, become that person for someone else. The auditorium remained completely still. In the third row, a quiet student named Olivia slowly wiped away tears. Beside her, another boy lowered his head. For weeks, neither of them had spoken to anyone. When the presentation ended, dozens of students didn't leave. Instead, they formed a long line, not for autographs, not for photographs. They simply wanted someone to talk to. Daniel smiled, looking at Noah. I think Grandpa Richard would have liked this. Noah nodded. He always believed the greatest conversations begin when someone finally feels safe enough to speak. As they prepared to leave the school, the principal handed Noah a folded piece of paper. It was left on your chair. No name, no signature, only one sentence, written in careful handwriting. Today, I decided to stay. Noah quietly folded the note and slipped it into Grandpa Richard's pocket watch, because sometimes the smallest message is the one that reminds us why hope must always be shared. The folded note remained safely inside Grandpa Richard's pocket watch. Only 5 words had been written. Today, I decided to stay. Noah never discovered who wrote it. He never searched. Grandpa Richard had taught him that sometimes the greatest gift is allowing someone to remain anonymous. Bakat, the Carter Foundation. Life continued. As always, children laughed beneath the old oak tree. Volunteers sorted new letters. Families shared meals. On the front porch, the house no longer felt like a memorial. It felt alive. A week later, Daniel received an unexpected phone call. It was the principal from Riverside High School. I wanted to thank you. Daniel smiled. For what? The principal paused, then quietly said, one of our students was planning to leave school forever. He also believed his life wasn't worth living. But after your visit, he came to my office. He handed me a note. Daniel's heart skipped a beat. The principal continued. It was the same note you found on your chair. Today, I decided to stay. Daniel closed his eyes. For several moments, he couldn't speak. Grandpa Richard had been right. Sometimes, you never know which words will become someone's turning point. That afternoon, Daniel walked into Grandpa Richard's study. Noah was organizing letters. Without saying anything, Daniel handed him a second note. This one had been written by the student. It read, Dear stranger, you don't know me. You probably never will. But when you asked if anyone had ever felt lost, I realized I wasn't the only one. I thought everyone else already had their lives together. Thank you for proving that even adults can lose their way and still find hope again. Today, I told my mom I wanted to come home. Maybe tomorrow will be better. Thank you for helping me stay. Neither Noah nor Daniel could hold back their tears. Lily quietly whispered, Grandpa Richard saved another life. Noah gently shook his head. No, he taught us How to? That evening, they framed the anonymous note, not as a trophy, not as a reminder of sadness, but as proof that hope can arrive in only 5 words. The frame was placed beside the entrance. Below it, a small brass plaque. Read, "You may never know which words save someone, so choose them with kindness." Visitors stopped to read it. Many smiled. Some quietly cried. A few reached into their pockets, pulled out their phones, and sent a simple message to someone they loved. "I hope you're doing okay." One sentence, one moment, one connection. Late that night, as Noah prepared to lock the front door, he noticed the tiny silver compass resting beside the pocket watch. For the first time since opening the hidden compartment, its needle moved again, not toward the front door, not toward the road, but toward the shelf, holding the book of quiet kindness. Noah smiled softly. He finally understood. Grandpa Richard's journey was no longer hidden inside maps or watches. From now on, it would live inside every story yet to be written. The silver compass pointed quietly toward the bookshelf, not toward a road, not toward a destination, but toward the book of quiet kindness. Noah stood silently, watching the needle remain perfectly still. He smiled. "I think Grandpa is trying to tell us something." The elderly stranger, who had returned the missing key, walked closer. He looked at the bookshelf filled with journals. Then he whispered, "Richard always believed that one day his greatest stories wouldn't be the ones he wrote. They would be the ones other people chose to live." That evening, after everyone had gone home, the old man asked Noah a quiet question. "Would you like to hear the only story Richard never allowed me to tell?" Noah looked surprised. "There was one he kept secret?" The old man nodded. "For 40 years, he said. It wasn't my story to tell, but now, I think, it finally is." They sat together on the front porch. The old oak tree swayed gently in the evening breeze. The pocket watch ticked softly on the table between them. The old man began speaking. "I first met Richard Carter when I was 23. I had just lost my wife and my little daughter in a car accident. I blamed everyone, myself, God, the world. I stopped speaking to people. I stopped living." Noah listened without interrupting. One rainy afternoon, I was sitting alone on a park bench. A stranger sat beside me. He didn't ask my name. He didn't say, "Everything will be okay." He simply sat there for almost an hour. When he finally stood up, he handed me a small paper bag. Inside was fresh bread, a jar of soup, and one note. The old man's voice began to tremble. The note said, "You don't have to speak today. Just promise me you'll still be here tomorrow." The old man closed his eyes. I kept that note for 30 years. It was signed, only Richard. I didn't know his last name. I didn't know where he lived. I only knew that one stranger had chosen to sit beside me instead of walking away. Years later, by pure chance, he met Richard again. I recognized his smile. I showed him the note. He laughed softly and said, "I'm glad you stayed." Tears filled Noah's eyes. "So, Grandpa never told anyone?" The old man smiled. He made me promise never to write that story in his books. He said, "If people remember me, they'll miss the lesson I wanted them to remember, that anyone can become The stranger, who sits down beside someone who feels alone. Silence filled the porch. The stars slowly appeared above the old oak tree. Noah looked toward Grandpa Richard's photograph inside the study. For the first time, he realized the greatest act of kindness his grandfather had ever done was one the world had never known. As the elderly man prepared to leave, the next morning, he handed Noah one final item, an old, folded piece of paper. "I think it's finally time." Across the front, in Grandpa Richard's handwriting, were 7 simple words. The story I never wanted told. Noah gently held the fragile paper. His heart began to race because he knew the final chapter of Richard Carter's life was waiting just beyond. The next page, morning sunlight filled the study. The old farmhouse was quiet. Only the gentle ticking of Grandpa Richard's pocket watch broke the silence. On the desk lay a single folded page. Across the front, Grandpa Richard's handwriting read, "The story I never wanted told." Noah looked at Daniel, then Sarah, then Lily. No one reached for the letter. They all understood. Some stories deserved patience. Finally, Noah unfolded the fragile paper. The handwriting was steady, simple, exactly as Grandpa Richard had always written. "Dear Noah, if you are reading this, then someone has decided it is finally time for you to know the one story I never wanted to become famous." People often believe that kindness requires strength. They are wrong. The day I helped the stranger on the park bench, I was not strong. I was afraid. Only 1 week earlier, the doctors had quietly told me that my heart was failing. I left the hospital, believing I might not have many years left. I remember thinking, if my own time may be short, how should I spend what remains? That afternoon, I saw a young man sitting alone. His eyes looked exactly like mine. When I had lost your grandmother, I almost kept walking. I almost convinced myself someone else will stop. But kindness has always begun with one decision. So I sat beside him. I never imagined that simple moment would remain in his heart for decades. That is why I never told anyone about the story. If people praised me, they might believe kindness needs recognition. It doesn't. The greatest acts are often witnessed only by 2 people, the one who gives and the one who desperately needed someone to stay. Noah paused, his vision blurred. A tear fell quietly onto the page. Daniel whispered, he never wanted credit. Sarah nodded. He only wanted someone to feel less alone. Noah continued reading. If this story is ever shared, promise me you will never tell it. To make people admire Richard Carter. Tell it so they understand that they can do exactly the same. Sit beside someone. Listen. Stay. Love. That is enough. With all my love, Grandpa Richard. The room fell completely silent. No one spoke. No one needed to. Outside, children laughed. Beneath the old oak tree, visitors walked slowly toward the entrance. Life continued exactly as Grandpa Richard would have wanted. Noah carefully folded the letter. He placed it beside the tiny compass, beside the pocket watch, beside the book of quiet kindness. He smiled softly. I understand now. My grandfather didn't leave us a legacy to preserve. He left us a life to continue. As everyone prepared for another day, at the Carter Foundation, Noah noticed one empty page. Inside, the next chapter's notebook. He picked up a pen. At the top, he wrote only one sentence. Today, I will sit beside someone who needs me. He closed the notebook. Some stories don't end when the last page is written. Sometimes they begin the moment someone chooses to live them. Morning sunlight poured gently through the windows of the Carter Foundation. The old farmhouse felt peaceful, warm, alive. The laughter of children echoed beneath the great oak tree. Visitors read letters, shared stories, and quietly added new pages to the book of quiet kindness. On Grandpa Richard's desk, 3 objects rested side by side: the pocket watch, the tiny silver compass, and the brass key that had finally found its way home. Noah looked at them for a long moment, then carefully placed each one inside a simple wooden display, not behind glass, not locked away, but within reach. Below them, he placed a small sign. It read, "These objects have no power. The people who use their lessons do." That afternoon, a family arrived from another state. A little girl, no older than 10, walked slowly into Grandpa Richard's study. She stared at the old pocket watch, then looked at Noah. "Did your grandpa really change so many lives?" Noah smiled gently. "Knelt. So they were. Aya to I. He changed, one life at a time, and every person he helped chose to help someone else. So today, thousands of people carry a little piece of his kindness." The little girl thought quietly, then asked the question Noah had never forgotten: "Can I be part of the story too?" Noah smiled. "You already are." He handed her a blank sheet of paper and a pencil. She sat near the window, thinking carefully. Several minutes passed. Finally, she began to write. When she finished, she folded the paper, placed it gently inside the mailbox, marked "Letters for tomorrow." As her family prepared to leave, she ran back to Noah. "I forgot to tell you what I wrote." "What did you write?" She smiled. "I wrote, 'Dear stranger, if today feels heavy, come sit beside me. We can be brave together.'" Noah felt his eyes fill with tears. Such simple words, yet they carried the same quiet love Grandpa Richard had once offered to a stranger on a lonely park bench. That evening, the Carter Foundation closed for the day. Daniel locked the front gate. Sarah watered the flowers. Lily placed fresh candles inside the reading room. The elderly stranger, who had returned the missing key, prepared to leave. Before stepping into his truck, he turned toward Noah. Richard would be proud. Noah smiled. "I hope so." The old man shook his head gently. "No, I know." He climbed into the truck, drove slowly down the quiet road, and disappeared beyond the hills. Noah never saw him again, but somehow he never felt like the man had truly left. As night settled over the farmhouse, Noah returned to Grandpa Richard's study. He picked up the pocket watch, held it gently in both hands. For a moment, he simply listened. Dick, dick, dick. The sound no longer reminded him of time passing. It reminded him that kindness never stands still. It moves from one heart to another, from one generation to the next. Noah placed the watch beside the book of quiet kindness, turned off the study light, and quietly whispered, "Thank you, Grandpa." Outside, beneath the old oak tree, the wind moved gently through the branches, almost as if someone was still there, watching, smiling, waiting for the next person who needed someone to simply sit beside them. Final message: a legacy is not measured by what we leave behind. It is measured by the kindness that continues long after we are gone. One conversation, one letter, one small act of compassion can become a gift that reaches people we may never meet.